Generation Z is the least religious generation, but the trends are not as bad as you might think. All right, we're back. We took a little hiatus with doing some YouTube videos, and we're gonna be trying something a little different. For the next 3 episodes, I have with me the mysterious, the enigmatic, the unknown Wes Hamilton, famous YouTuber over at Westis, does a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
I don't get any of that stuff. That has nothing to do with Calvin.
No.
Not like Calvin and Hobbes or Calvinism.
No, definitely not that.
It's a Star Wars character.
Yes, it's a Star Wars character. His name's Cal Kestis. My name's Wes. Very natural progression to a dad pun.
I like good dad jokes.
Me
so.
too.
All right, so in case you can't tell, Wes is of a different generation than me. I'm the oldest millennial, and then you're right in the heart of Gen Z. And
20 years old, yeah.
Yeah, 20 years old, and you're weird. I don't get you.
Very, yeah.
We're going to try to bridge some generational gaps over these next 3 episodes here on YouTube. And glad you're tuning in. Thank you for all of you who are in the Church Answers audience. All right, so here's the deal. You go to my church.
I do.
And you've actually been going to my church for longer than I've been going to my church.
That's right.
You've been going
You remember your place, young man.
Yes. You've been a member of Wes Bradenton for a while. Wes has grown up in our church and has been a faithful part of our church. So you're a believer and love the church. But we want to get your perspective on some things. So I want to talk about a little bit just what is Gen Z looking for in a church? So about 48% of Gen Z is either none, like just no affiliation, or atheistic or agnostic. That compares to about 45% of millennials. So there's that part of our generation's not that much different. But that also means that there is a large group that is spiritually open, spiritually seeking, or as we'll see in some future episodes, even attending church. So what is Gen Z looking for in the church? And the first thing is this. Gen Z is looking for an answer to loneliness. You guys are like the most connected generation ever, technologically, digitally, but you're also the most lonely. What say you? Why are you guys so lonely?
I think it's mostly because, like you said, we're the most connected technologically, but because of that, there's a lack of physical interaction that I feel is missing from a lot of kids' lives because, you know, they go to school, right? But even schoolwork now is done on laptops and phones and all that stuff. Their whole life is around our whole life. I'm a part of that. I need to remember that. Our whole life is a screen, essentially. We are taught that everything comes from a screen.
Why are you always on your phone?
Clash of Clans, man. I'm drawn in,
I
trying to get my town hall to level 8. You know, it's a grind. It's a grind.
I'm assuming that's a video game.
Yes.
Yeah. I am the old man now. The church can be that answer for loneliness. How have you seen that? Like, let's just use Wes Bradenton as an example because that's your frame of reference. How has Wes Bradenton helped with that, or has it? Has our church helped?
I would say it definitely has. My closest friends ever are people that I met in our youth group here. And I'm still friends with them to this day. We go to dinner every Wednesday night, hang out on the weekends, you know, go to the beach over summer. So it really can be an answer to loneliness from a social level. And then on top of that, like if I'm ever talking to someone about Christ, if I'm ever like sharing the gospel, one of the first things that I always say, I always use myself as a point of reference. I don't try to like pitch it as like, well, if you do this, you'll find this. I just kind of start by talking about how being a Christian actually helps me. And one of them is loneliness.
You know what that's called?
What?
That's a good old-fashioned testimony. That's what we would say back in the day. You're sharing your testimony. You've seen the church be a solution to loneliness, but there's another thing that Gen Z is looking for in the church. And Gen Z has questions. We hope to provide answers to those questions. Gen Z struggles with doubt. And there's a lot of studies behind this. I mean, most connected, most access, and yet the generation that has the most level of doubt in their life. Doubt about many things: the future, spirituality, church, life in general, relationships. What say you about this, this idea of doubt? Do you doubt in your life? And if so, how does the church help with that?
Well, yeah, of course I doubt just about everything. Even my love for Star Wars, sometimes it hits a low. But I think where that issue comes from with my generation is the fact that, like, everything is changing. I think with everyone trying to chase the new, here's the new trend on TikTok, here's the new trend on Instagram, Ice Bucket Challenge, even though that was like 5 years ago. There's just constant change. And even like when you watch old movies and stuff like that, creations from past generations, they all kind of feel like the same movie. I feel like just change is happening more frequent nowadays.
So the grasping of novelty comes with a corresponding increase in doubt. Because if you're always grasping for the new, and not just the new, the novel, then I guess the correlation would be there with doubt. If everything's always changing, if everything always has to be new, if everything always has to be next, well, there's not a whole lot of grounding and rootedness, which the church can provide. You've got this idea of loneliness, which the church can solve, and you've seen that in your life. And even a generational difference here. When I ask you, do you doubt? There was no hesitation. You were like, of course I doubt. Well, previous generations, people from previous generations wouldn't have been so bold as to say, well, yeah, of course I doubt. So clearly this is something in your generation. Loneliness, doubt. And this last piece really pertains to this whole big topic of mental health. But I'm just going to kind of zero in on this idea of ongoing anxiety, which I guess would be connected to the novel, the new. Everything's always changing. You guys are digital natives. Like I'm of that generation. Like I still remember the analog world. I was born in 1980, and I still remember the turn-dial TVs and newspapers and all that stuff. So I'm right there on the fence. You are completely native to this digital world, and this idea that everyone is their own brand. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but with that comes this anxiety of always producing, of always looking a part, of always doing. How do you handle that? And has Wes Bradenton helped with any of the anxiety in your life?
I'm not a super anxious person.
He's really not.
I'm pretty go with the flow, and even when it comes to running my own YouTube channel, there is a little bit of pressure, because at the end of the day, if you're running something like that, your goal is to please people.
That's a really good point. The reason that your generation puts out the content that they do through whatever means, whether that be TikTok or Twitter or YouTube, I guess you guys really aren't Facebook all that much, but no. That's for the 60-year-old women.
I actually don't know a person my age that uses Facebook regularly. So.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. But that idea of always putting out content to please others, like that's the motive, is I desire to please other people, which is not a bad thing, but boy, that could bring a lot of anxiety in your life if you're not rooted in something. So there you go. Little short episode here. What Gen Z is looking for in a church. I'm sure there's a whole lot more than what we covered on this episode, but looking for an answer to loneliness, looking for an answer to doubt, looking for an answer to ongoing anxiety. Thanks for tuning in. We'd like for you to join Church Answers. So we're offering something to you for free. Go to churchanswers.com/free. Link is in the description below as well. Again, churchanswers.com/free. We've got all sorts of things we want to offer you with this free membership. It's a 30-day free trial. So you can get in there, check it out, see if you like it. One of the things that we offer is Church Answers Central, which is a forum for you to get in there and ask any question that you need to ask. We've got experts ready to answer. It's a really neat community of about 1,800 church leaders that are always interacting with each other. Goodness, almost like 24 hours a day. It's wild. We get regular updates in there. So go check it out, churchanswers.com/free, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.